It is book launch day. It's Reclaim Vitality. I don't know why I sang that, but
The number one book of 2026.
yeah,
I'm just going to call it.
long time coming. And hey, I want to start off because we said it's the number one book of 2026. It's not even our book. This is my mentality, okay? Just follow me. I know you might be confused.
I'm on the edge of my seat. It's Tony Lyon's book.
It's a Skyhorse publication. They bought it, so it's their book. No, it's God's book. Like, this was an inspired writing. I just want to, I want to say that because I'm proud of it, but it's literally an inspired book that I feel like is not even ours anyway.
Yeah. Well, true. This isn't our message. It's truth. It's something that we were compelled to share because there are so many people right now in this moment in time on the edge of a paradigm shift. And we've watched people who have intentions to live naturally stay stuck suffering, stay stuck confused because the paradigm shift wasn't there. And we truly believe that now is the moment when people want to trust that their body is doing the right thing. And they also want to steward their physical body better.
Yeah. To be clear, this is a guide to exit conventional medicine and reclaim vitality. So you do that by living naturally and living in accordance to natural laws. And even though, we have a publisher, Skyhorse, and we're happy about we're happy to have journeyed this as our first book. But my goodness, the work that went into this to bring it to where we are today, and just the stories and the people that we stand on their shoulders of having learned and trained and taught from and sat under, their ministry, and if you will, it's just this is a decade plus of something that's been truly life-changing for you and I.
Of being students of this, but also being teachers of this for a decade. And I'm just so glad that Book Launch Day is on a Tuesday because we get to share with the One Dream audience in real time that today is the day and we have something really fun to offer you and you all get to be a part of it with us.
Okay, so why would somebody listen to this episode? It's an episode about our book, and it's not because it's not about our book. If you intend to read it, you're like, I'm just going to read the book. It's not about the book. It's about this. Is that this was so much, like so many stories went into this, and I can think back at the paradigm shift that I personally went through that inspired this writing. That literally has been the paradigm shift for me that has governed decision makings moving forward for me and my family. It's saved me so much money, saved me so much time, and has saved me so much hurt by having guidance, guardrails to make health and healthcare decisions. And I think back of my life in 2008, I guess was 2007, 2008 when the paradigm shift really happened. Is I was on my way to PT school. Loved fitness. I was a personal trainer, loved studying health, and my path was interrupted by a guy who lived vitalistically. And I loved what I saw. I wanted what he had. He said he learned everything he knew from this doctor, and he taught him how to eat and exercise and care for his nervous system. And he introduced me to a book that explained the intricacy and the brilliance of the body. And my life was radically changed. And it started with a book. You and I were talking about this the other day. We're like, paradigm shifts don't happen because of like podcasts and books. And I was like, wait a second.
They do.
They actually do. And you and I both had examples of like our lives being radically interrupted in a good way by something that was like digital.
Right. I've definitely had life-changing books and I've definitely had life-changing podcasts, which is exciting because, you go back to that pattern interruption you had. And some people might not know that you were suffering, even though you were healthy, quote unquote healthy.
Looked healthy.
You were 12%, 10% body fat and in the gym every day and coaching other people through their fitness journeys. You had Crohn's-like symptoms and that diagnosis was thrown around and never adopted by you, but completely reversed.
That was my early 20s. And I switched my grad school applications from PT to Chiro to be the doctor that could help people like that. Like is when I had that change, I went from I want to help people feel better to I want to help people heal better. I want to help people heal like this because it governed everything. I thought about this doctor and this paradigm when I went to the grocery store and when I was in the gym, and I thought about this paradigm of how I was going to raise my kids, and I was reading books about kid upbringing and children's health and vaccines and all the things that did not directly apply to me in that moment, but I had a now vision for my life and how that would look and how it would look differently because of this.
And one of the stories that inspired us to continue to carry this torch, I remember you were so on fire for this way of healing even before you had your doctorate, and your stepdad came to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had been in the hospital room with his mom, sitting bedside with his mom passing of cardiac failure, congestive heart failure. And he wanted to reverse the diagnoses he already had that were leading toward that same path.
Right. And he would probably tell you this now, that he used to suppress every sniffle and headache with over-the-counter medications. And it was over time where we were having conversations about the body. I don't even remember how it actually went. Like there wasn't a moment of time. It's like, boom. And now all of a sudden we're stopping symptom suppression with normal stuff, normal physiology, like sniffles. But he started listening instead of fighting against it. And so when like a fever would hit, he would rest and hydrate with water and trust his body. And he prioritized the health of his nervous system. And over time, his recovery became faster. He noticed fewer illnesses altogether. And he lost about 100 pounds.
I can't remember how many, 80, 100.
He lost a lot of weight, but he reversed type 2 diabetes, got off of almost all of his medications, his blood pressure medications, his cholesterol medications. And again, it's not that I wasn't even in school yet. It wasn't that I was taking him off or his doctor was taking him off. Is that these are just simply the side effects of living vitalistically.
And understanding that you don't want to give up and accept things as genetic. And I think that was your stepdad's paradigm shift, was that he was no longer going to say, I'm just going to accept all this as genetic, but I want to get in the driver's seat. And he became a student of how the body heals.
Yeah. Well, and that's my hope, right? That's my hope, is that it's long lasting. It's not just like a resource of like a guide to help you just like take less medications in this year, or to eat less seed oils in 2026, that it becomes something that becomes part of you, that's long lasting, that you can take, and that's adopted, and literally is the container for this paradigm shift that is so needed. That's my prayer, at least. And man, maybe I have big aspirations for the book, but again, I was doing the audiobook for it and reading it, and just like moved, like I was moved myself, of like, I can't wait for people to read it, really, is what it was. Yes. Not like, this is so good, Nick, patting myself on the back and you on the back, but like, oh my gosh, this was truly inspired, because goodness, I don't feel like I wrote that. Like there are certain parts where it's like, I don't even feel like.
It's because I wrote that part. I mean, you truly had the vision for this. And I feel like, I don't know if you would agree, that you roped me into it. Our visions kind of collided through, I wouldn't even say it was the pandemic that caused our visions to collide, because we've always worked together. But the more and more people that were coming to us through Stand for Health Freedom, not just through the clinic, through facets of the community, asking one-off questions. And we're like, oh, of course we can help in this one-off situation, but you need to get in the driver's seat. You need the picture, because I'm not going to be sitting beside you next time you make your decision. Right. And I think that
I feel like, can I just say, I feel like looking back, I definitely roped you into it.
Okay, so you agree with this?
Yeah, and because I'm remembering back, was it like early 2023 or whenever it was when our littlest was born? I was like, listen, we're gonna have all this downtime now to write a book because we got this, this
baby slowing us
this
down.
is slowing us down. So we're gonna be like at home more, and you're gonna be nursing. This is a perfect time to start to write a book.
And I think I believed you because we were going from.
It wasn't intentional, right? I didn't know, like.
Yeah, I believed you. You're pretty convincing. And I don't know. I'd like to hear from the other moms out there. Would they have believed you if you said, look, Leah, it's going to be the perfect creative container and inspired container with your infant? And I said, yeah, you're right. This is a good time. And I think in my head, logistically, we were going from running ultra marathons together and skiing the Rockies with the boys to sitting on the couch with an infant. And we thought that the pace was just going to come to a screeching halt, which to an extent it does. But I, as a mom, you're in this primal phase of just nursing and keeping a baby alive and tending to other kids that there was no creative bandwidth. Mm-hmm. It was a slow start. It was a trudging start.
Well, we had all this information and resources, and we had it like the things that we thought we wanted to say, and then when we'd go down, put pen to paper, proverbial pen to paper, and go to say them and be like, it's just not there yet. We just wrestle with it and beat it up and come back to it and be like, it's there. And then literally 2 days later, be like, it's not even close.
Well, it's a different container. I mean, to go from teaching 1 hour long workshops or doing conversations on podcasts to putting it into a compilation is a different type of challenge for us. But I think where I was coming off of the inspiration in 2022 was MJ was a rainbow baby. I mean, anyone who was close to that journey felt the miracle that she was. And so I thought, oh, of course, this is the moment to overflow with inspiration and share it with the world. Because talking about vitalism, when we wrote the words in this book, it's not just our experience from learning and teaching others, but it's our lived experience. Mm-hmm. We already mentioned that you reversed Crohn's-like symptoms, I guess I should say, we don't accept the diagnosis. Mm-hmm. But I struggle with what people would call fertility issues. And our second born, Samuel, took 3 years to conceive him, what felt like the longest journey ever. And then we thought, oh, we'll just foster to adopt now. We have our 2 boys. We're done having kids. And what follows that is 4 surprise pregnancies, but 3 of them ended in loss. And the third one was that third loss. Well, it was a 4th loss, but third during that time of my life was different because it was second trimester, because we knew the baby was a girl, because we had her name, because she had already radically changed our lives. And it took 10 weeks for my body to pass her. And it's like, I didn't give up on my body doing the right thing at the right time to bring this process to completion. And the really cool God thing is that on April 28th, 2022, when Ruth passed, I had a dream of caring for my little girl. And I thought that's the only day I would ever spend with her. I thought, okay, so this was April 29th now because it's past midnight. So April 29th, 2022 is the only day of my life in my dream that I will ever spend with my daughter. We have 2 sons. That was my daughter. Now she's in heaven with Jesus. And guess what, friends? 1 year later, April 29th, 2023, MJ was born into my arms. So it's just crazy. It's just the inspiration that comes off of seeing that God writes insane stories if we trust him. Yeah. And to journey that fertility experience and to say when I conceived MJ, all right, friends, you know what? The one precondition on this whole pregnancy and birth is that I expect it to go well. I expect things to go as God designed. And if anyone disagrees, they can't be a part.
We fired the one that disagreed.
Well,
two actually.
We fired multiple midwives. Yeah. We fired a doula.
Day of birth, day of delivery.
And MJ was born into my arms. Perfect little girl. And it was such a journey. And she was just months old, weeks old when we committed to this project.
When you had that dream of Ruth and saw her face, you were trying to draw her face, like the face that you had in the dream, because you just so badly didn't want to forget.
I was like, if I could describe this to a painter, like the pictures of people who saw Jesus in their dreams and they paint them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my, maybe I'm inspired enough to become an artist overnight. But no, but I did. Later, I found, it was just a couple weeks later, I received something in the mail. I think it was an N.A. Noel painting on a postcard. And I saved it in my journal from 2022. And I was like, oh, this is her. And now MJ is her.
Mm-hmm.
MJ has bright blue eyes and white blonde hair, unlike any other person in our family. And that was little girl in my dream.
Rainbow baby. Well, fertility and Crohn's, and name the condition of the body is a marker of devitalization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of making the body vital, helping the body to become vital and express itself, out of that is better fertility. Out of that is better digestive health. Out of that is better metabolic health. It's better energy. Out of that, liver cleanses and heals itself. Like, we can go through a lot of these conditions that are current states of the body that are not actual. This is not like an actual long-term condition, or it doesn't have to be, at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you were to accept that.
Right.
If you were to take a step back and say, this doesn't have to be like this.
One of the greatest injustices of all times is to look at a woman and say, you will never conceive. I mean, this is what you're talking about. It's vitality. The body is not a stone sculpture. It's it's a living ecosystem. And so at this snapshot in time, the environment within that woman may not be conducive to fertility or to building life.
That's right.
But that can change. And so to remove someone's hope in this book is about restoring hope.
That's right.
And that's what keeps me going. That's what kept me going through writing when you convinced me to write in a chaotic time, was remembering my friends like Sheila Ely.
Right.
And some people might recognize the name because Sheila was a dear friend and a mother figure. She was a dear friend to both of us, but a mother figure to me after my mom passed in 2019. And her story really hit the airwaves when she told her son, Temple Ely's vaccine injury story to the Vaxxed bus. And so in Vaxxed 1, she told the story of taking Temple and his twin sister, Lou, in for their routine childhood immunizations in their baby carriers. Twins, right. And she had only taken Temple out of the baby carrier. The shots were already lined up by the nurse. And she looked down, and Lou was still strapped into her carrier, but both MMR vials were empty.
Mm-hmm.
And it struck her, and she knew this isn't okay. And the nurse was struck too. But when they called Merck was, no, it's totally fine. Everything should be good. And Temple regressed into severe autism. And Lou went on to be a concert pianist and an opera singer. And so it's Sheila being a joyful warrior her entire life that kept me going, especially because there was one part of her story that motivates me to keep telling the truth about healing. And that is, this woman knew the corruption of medicine. She knew she didn't want to trust conventional medicine that had led her astray. She had done her research on everything. And, she had her own cancer battle, and she did her research to the extent that she knew, I don't want to have lymph nodes removed because other women who have those removed end up dying of congestive heart failure a few years later. So she did her research. She dug deep. She looked at the medical literature. She was a PhD in education, but she called me 9 weeks before she passed. We had a long conversation that night, and her question to me was, Leah, could healing really be this simple? And I said, what do you mean, Sheila? And she started describing the nervous system balance to me and the resilience of healing when the nervous system is in alignment. And I said, Sheila, I thought you knew. You loved chiropractic. You preach, trust the chiropractors, get to the chiropractors for your care. I thought you knew because you loved natural health and you loved chiropractic. And she didn't have that link to understand I can stop battling my cancer. I can stop warring against my body and go into the balance of healing. And it killed me to know that my dear friend, I assumed she knew. And she said on the phone that night, she said, Leah, I have to make it home from here. Because she was already very, very, very sick. And she was at a specialist in Washington State, her family back home in Louisiana. And she said, I'm going to go home and I'm going to switch all my children to this paradigm of healthcare.
Yeah, this type
She's
of
like,
care.
I can't wait to teach them. I can't wait to teach them about how brilliantly designed their body is to heal and how simple it can be to pursue this type of healing. And she never gave up. There was a light in her voice that night that she wanted to share with her children.
That's right. Well, in the recognition of devitalization, the body can become devitalized, and then every intervention must realign with revitalization. That is a core tenet. In fact, it's one of the two of the three principles of vitality that we talk about in the book. And Sheila's, a little piece of Sheila's story is in Reclaim Vitality in the cancer chapter. And she got the paradigm shift in her last days of life. And for me, I want to commit to sharing the paradigm shift with people from all spectrums of natural living. No matter how much you know, there's something in Reclaim Vitality for you, because it's all about exercising your faith and understanding that the body was designed to heal.
And one of the things that continues to comfort me is that Sheila passed with an amazing confidence until the end. A confidence in the plan for her life, in her decisions. She did not fear.
Right.
And that's part of exiting conventional thinking, because there's something about the conventional thinking that keeps us making decisions based out of fear and attacking problems instead of confidently stepping forward, knowing that everything that happens is for me. The signal my body is giving me is for me. This journey is for me. This outcome is for me. And to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might call that false hope.
There's no such thing as false hope when hope is rightly placed.
That when it's rightly placed.
There's no such thing. We talk about that in the book, that there's no such thing as false hope if you're placing hope in the right place. It's not in an intervention. It's not in a doctor. It's not in some pharmaceutical or supplement. The hope is in the body's designed to heal.
Right.
That's the hope. And the book unpacks the biggest pitfalls that keep someone stuck in the conventional thinking or the broken model that your body can't heal, or that your body is genetically flawed, or that you're just one germ exposure away from being sick. That we unpack that in a way that part one is exit conventional. So it's exit conventional, capital M medicine. And we talk about that a lot on this show. And so if you're new here, capital M medicine is not the, people who are attempting to do the right thing for people, the good doctors and good nurses and all of those. It's not an attack on them. It's that there's a medical industrial complex that is closely tied and linked with hands to the pharmaceutical industry and biotech industry and others. And that's the capital M medicine that we're describing to exit, is that conventional medical model. That's all part one. Part two, we go into living naturally, what it looks like to live naturally. Not more tasks, not more checklists, but a framework by which you make decisions in all things, whether it's the foods you eat, the drugs you take, the household cleaners you get exposed to, the movement as medicine. We go through all of that in part two. And then part three is the fun part, which is experience health freedom. Now, what does this look like when you open your pantry on Monday? What does this look like when you go to the grocery store? What do you do about all this? And it's less of tasks, but more just logistically. Let's actually answer the questions that people have when they get inspired to adopt a new paradigm.
Yes, we go through in the book assets and liabilities of health. To be able to clearly understand what's an asset, what's a liability, and take an honest inventory. Because when you understand the framework, instead of just the one-off issues, then you cannot be tricked by fear campaigns. And that's where the bad decisions are made, is when we get tricked by fear campaigns or tricked by a rushed decision or pressure from a family member. But if you have this understanding, it's a whole new level of health freedom.
In the world of influencers and more do this, the top 5 things to do that, to not do, and to here's the 3 things you need to know, and all these quick hitting things that they exist right now because of the social media world. In a world of all of that, we don't need more things to do and tasks to complete. We need a framework by which we make decisions, and it couldn't be more timely, I think, than right now with the paradigm shift that's slowly starting to happen in America right now. People waking up, but they need to wake up and know not just what they're leaving, they need to know what they're going towards. Like a lot of people say, I don't want more drugs. I don't want to keep going back and getting advice to get the shot or the flu shot or whatever. And some people are just like, I'm just not going back. Well, that's good to know what you don't want, but you now have to know what you do want, what you are moving towards. And if you know what you're moving towards and you have a clear path in mind with a framework by which you do it, it becomes a DIY healthcare, which is really the idea, is you are healthcaring yourself because you are the CEO of your health and your body. You're the quarterback here. No one else. You can't farm that out. You don't want to farm that out. You put somebody else in charge of your health, guess what? They go home too. They clock out at some point. They're thinking about their family. They're thinking about, that's not appropriate for them to be in charge of your health. You've got to be the one in charge of your health.
Well, it's not sustainable. It's just the framework, I don't hate to use that word again, but it falls through the floor in order to put someone who's not on duty all the time over something that is yours to own. And we wrote this book because our vision is an army of vitalists. And we know the desire to be in that army is there. We hear from people every day who want this, who want to understand, who are seeing the cracks in mainstream understanding, not just mainstream conventional medicine, but mainstream understanding of the body has cracks in it, and those are being exposed. And so there's a desire for firmer footing, for true freedom, for stewardship. And we want to see that take shape and come to fruition and have people confidence in reclaiming their vitality.
That's right. And there's not many times where I do a call to action on this show. In fact, I'm not sure if I've ever done a call to action on the One Dream podcast, but here's your call to action. Join the movement to reclaim vitality for yourself, your family, and really your community. So go get your copy today. Grab one for a friend too. And when you purchase, please leave a review so that we can grow this army together and reach more people. True freedom is experienced in free communities. And the only way we get to be a free community is when we take back the autonomy and ownership of our health and really live a healthier and freer life.
One of the leaders of free communities wrote the foreword to the book. And that's one of my favorite things about how this book came together, is that America's farmer, Joel Salatin, was kind enough to see himself in this book as a non-interventionist and write the foreword. And he can speak to that in a clear way of watching this play out with his family and his farm and through generations. And so go grab the book. If you don't like us, you might like Joel Salatin, and he likes it. He likes the book. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of the health freedom movement. And do understand that Reclaim Vitality was written with you in mind. And we're excited to share it with you and for you to share it with friends. And we will see you here next week.